Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam, ala rasulillah wa ba'd. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, guests. Inshallah, we will be joined, I should say, by two more guests tonight. They're not here yet. They're on Muslim time. Alhamdulillah. Ayub, the first odd night of the last 10 have started. How are you feeling?
You know, if it didn't really hit me until I was coming home from Tarawih, and so I shared a voice note in our team chat. Yeah, we've been hustling so much this Ramadan, these last 20 days, that you lose track of it. So you know how in Ramadan everyone talks about there's like a dip, and so in our musalla there was definitely a dip between like 12th night and tonight, like. We had whole safs empty, whereas for the first 10, 11 nights, like we were turning people away. That's how full it was. And I just realized, it hit me as I was coming from home from Tarawih today, is that the best 10 days of Ramadan, best 10 nights to come. Like if I feel tired now, I need to shake it off because the best 10 are still to come. Like there's no, this is the time to switch it up a gear. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, the best 10 nights of the year, subhanAllah. You know, they say that the days of the Hijjah are the best, and the nights of the last 10 nights are the best nights. Yeah, subhanAllah. How was Tarawih and stuff? Was it all good?
Yeah, Tarawih was good. I think, did you post in? Oh no, I'm broadcasting it in all the different places as we're talking.
So while you do that, Ayub, one of the things I do want to do today, I want to have a target. I want to have a target of also speak about the issues. I know people are listening. I want to have a target.
Actually, right now we have 0 viewers.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. All right, let me post this in the Night Mania groups. Night Mania.
Is that on YouTube or is that on Facebook and everything? Oh.
Everything. So I think it might be good for you to log in on. Dr. Salman is here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good to see you, bros.
Let's see, your face is that way, so it's probably look better that you're on that side. There we go.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if I put you here, you're going to be like looking out at no one. Like, I'll put you over this side.
Salman, have you broadcasted it, bro?
What does that mean?
Have you gone on your WhatsApp?
Not WhatsApp. I put it on Facebook and Twitter. Let me put it on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay. You should do that.
You mean status?
Put it on your status. Put it in all your groups.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So today, our first guest, as you can see, is no other than the OG, Salman. But mashallah, Salman is.
Oh yes, we got the sound effects tonight.
What is your role in Islam 20C? In the chief editor?
Chief editor.
No, مشرف العام.
Salman is Dr. Salman.
Bro, don't mess with Salman. He's got an ijaza this week that he's buzzing about. We all did, I think. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
We all did.
Oh yeah, we all did, bro. We're all students now of.
I just turned off my camera. I was trying to.
We can see your pillow.
Now we can see your sofa.
Yeah. I was trying to do the Facebook the status update on WhatsApp, but I'm using my phone for the camera, so I'll just trying. I've got my computer open here. It doesn't let me do anything.
Salman, before we get into the show, right? Could you give us a quick run of your different sound effects?
You gotta earn them, bro. You gotta earn them.
These are left as an enigma for a reason.
Only Allah knows the width and depth and breadth of his sound collection.
So before we get into
I told you.
That was a COVID special one. Ayub, are you feeling all right?
Sorry?
Ayub, are you feeling all right? That was quite loud.
Yeah, man.
You've got a bit of a...
There we go. Thanks.
Before we get into the show, guys, I want to have a target.
When do we start?
I want to have a target of £750, right? What that really covers is probably the cost of 10 events, where 200 youth will attend. These are events that happen every single week. Inshallah, life-changing and transformational for the youth that do attend. So yeah, Salman, I had a question for you. Yeah, the topic of today is called "Get Married or Die Fasting." How old were you, bro? I'm sure you were. Oh my God, it starts. Assalamu alaikum, you gems. Okay, let's do something actually. Let's see Salman.
Oh, Hussein has joined.
Let's see Salman how good you are on your slang, right?
Oh, you know what? I was just about to say, Salman, you should quiz Hamza on the slang. Open up Urban Dictionary and let's do it.
No, my slang is not up to date anymore, right? Our slang is more patois, like South London, on the road. It's like, people don't use that anymore. But I'll ask you some questions, What does warm mean? Warm.
It's all about the mandims. Oh, Khidr, mashallah.
Salam alaikum. How's everyone doing?
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Mashallah.
I haven't seen you, bro, since the Islamic countdown.
Yeah, bro, you humiliated me, man. I've been living in shame ever since.
Bro, what was your score?
We were doing this countdown thing. I was like, let's try it out. He was like one of the first contestants I ever had, yeah. And I got some other guy who happened to be some regional champion or something.
Yeah, the guys at ELM won't let me live it down anymore. They're like, you're never representing us online ever again. So I'm in the dark now.
This is Khidr Muhammad.
Oh, we're gonna do a second season soon, inshallah, after Ramadan.
Inshallah, you'll probably have a different representative from ELM this time.
SubhanAllah. Khidr, you did a live show the other day with an imam from Nigeria, or?
Yeah. So that was as part of ELM's Ramadan drive time show that we do, which is more or less just kind of to have like conversations with people and discuss kind of key issues. So one of the topic for that show with Sheikh Tawfiq Abdul Salam, his name is, the topic we had was it was on marriage. It was getting and staying married, which is as you know, getting married is pretty hard nowadays, and then staying married is even more difficult with the divorce rates up for Muslims, especially, which is quite alarming. So, yeah.
How old were you when you got married, bro?
I was 21 when I got married, and then I had my twins at 22.
Salman, how old were you when you got married?
I was 23.
23. Okay, I was 22 when I got married. It's 21, 23.
I was like the youngest in my whole friends group, so I'm quite shocked to see inshallah younger brothers than me got married.
Alhamdulillah. Getting married young, how did you guys find that? Like, I get the question a lot, but how did you guys find getting married at a young age?
Salman, you go ahead with this one.
I wasn't young. Apparently, I was an old man when I got married.
23 is pretty young by today's standard.
I mean, I was still at uni. I was doing my PhD then still, so it was really good, man. Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
Do you want to clarify for the audience what your PhD is in?
It's in an enzyme called Rubisco.
Yes. I know a brother from Kingston, Yusuf Oshogo, may Allah bless him. Doctor as well, PhD. And we just have so much fun because his PhD is in cement. He doesn't he doesn't use the title doctor ever because he knows every time he does, he'll be like, yeah, Dr. Payment, how you doing?
That's quite a solid subject.
That was, you know what? I didn't get that at first, and then I got it, and then I was like, oh, that was really good.
Khidr, how did you find it? Because you had the twins as well. I think I was telling you, I've got these kittens that just turned up at my flat. And the other day, I just gave them to the neighbors. Like, it was too much headache. And it got me thinking, right? If I had...
Yeah, you can't do that with kids. Let me just stop you there, bro.
I could also tell you that kids and kittens are nothing alike.
How did you find it? What was your like? Are you happy you got married young when you were young? Would you advise other young people to get married? Parents that might be watching this, a lot of parents, they'll be like, no, I want them to have a proper education first. You can hear the drummer for the whole time reminding us. You could what was I saying? Yeah, a lot of parents might be thinking,
I didn't hear any drums, did you guys?
I didn't hear no drums either.
Hamza, I think today you need to go take us and see this drummer, this Ottoman drummer, mashallah.
Yeah, I can hear him. But I've closed.
Is he telling you to do anything?
They drum for about
this voice in your
guitar out
outside.
They drum for about half an hour to wake people up for sahur.
Really, mashallah.
Yeah.
To clarify, you guys know he's in Istanbul, right? This is not happening in like
I
one
just realized now. I thought he was referring to a drummer in his flat or something that decided to have a late night party or something. That's pretty cool, you know. That's pretty good.
Alhamdulillah. No, Khidr, when like a lot of parents, they might be like, I'll wait till especially maybe the daughters, the sons, I'll wait till they know what they want to do with their lives. I'll wait till they're a bit older. How was it for you getting married at 21 and then having twins?
So for me, like I found, or I'll split it into two: the process of actually trying to get married and then actually getting married and seeing what it's like. So the process for me, I found as a young person, like, cause I wanted to get married like about at 19. That's when I wanted to start getting like the idea of getting married. Cause you know, especially when you become practicing, you're all of a sudden, for some reason, the first thing that comes into the mind of every young person if you start becoming practicing young is that I need to get married. So, you know, I wanted to get married at 19, but I found the process extremely difficult because when you're young, well, not only do you not have an income, you don't like have a house or anything that you can kind of provide for or financially for a wife for. So naturally, women just tend not to go for younger men. And also there's like, you know, the whole kind of idea that, you know, if you're younger, you're less likely to be mature, you're less likely to have the right qualities for getting married, which is a fair presumption. But yeah, when I finally did get married to my wife, who was 18 at the time, and that was through, you know, mutual friends that you know, we made a connection. I found marriage to be like a roller coaster, I'd say. Mainly because, you know, there's not a lot of material out there that prepares you for what it means to be married, especially as a guy. I'd kind of watched my parents' marriage, and alhamdulillah, they have a good, happy marriage, but they're very traditional. Like, you know, we're first generation in this country, so I'm from South Africa. So, you know, they've got a certain model of marriage, which, you know, is pretty traditional by today's standards. Compared that to when, say, for example, you're getting married to a girl that's been born and brought up here, third generation in the UK, it's very different in what her expectations of marriage were. So in the sense of, like, you know, what I mean by this is that the roles and responsibilities, you know, what a husband is supposed to do in the house, what he's not supposed to do in the house, should the wife be working, should she not be working, you know, all of that kind of stuff. You know, alhamdulillah, me and my wife we have a really good marriage, alhamdulillah. But we had to figure all of that stuff out because we were both so young, and that was a pro and con. The pro of it is that you have the opportunity to grow with your wife, you know, explore new ideas. You know, my wife is, you know, she likes to think about a lot of things as well. So, you know, I might say something, oh, the ulama say this, and, you know, this is what the women should do. And then my wife will bring her own opinions, and, other scholars' opinions, and then we would talk about things, and then we would look at everything in the modern context, and all of these kind of ideas were growing together. Whereas if you get married when you're older, it's a lot harder to do that, because when you tend to be older, say in your 30s, you tend to kind of have more of a, and not necessarily, I'm just generalizing here, you tend to have a more fixed mindset as to what to expect from life, how you want everything to be. Therefore, that growth aspect might not be as flexible as, for example, you might be if you get married young. But saying that, I think when it comes to whether I'd recommend people get married young or not, I think that depends more on a personal level. Each individual is different. So I've met men that, they're so mature at the age of 18, 19 that I would say, like, yeah, bro, get married now, like, you can do it. And I know men that like at 35, they're so immature that I would say, bro, I would not let you look after I would not let you look after a kitten, like, let alone a wife and kids, man. Like, so I think it really varies.
SubhanAllah.
See, Hamza, maybe Allah sent those kittens to you for a reason. Maybe there's...
I wasn't irresponsible. I could have left them on the streets, right? But I had some.
That's where they live, man. In
exactly.
That's kind of normal for them, yeah.
Yeah, but I gave them to crazy Syrian neighbors, which was, and the mum still comes every day to the garden to get a salami off me. So, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. Salman, you've been married for like
eating cats processed meats, yeah.
So if you got married, Salman, when you were 23, that means you've been married for what, 22 years now, or?
What's he doing on a show for youth, by the way?
I'm the honorary youth dem.
Honorary youth. After the first 5 years of marriage, right? So for me, I found the first 5 years to be really difficult, but then also the best. Like, alhamdulillah, look, I've got a really busy routine and a really busy schedule, with many different things. And it was like that literally from when I first got married. I got married and I had to go to Saudi Arabia for like 6 weeks. I came back for a week, then I went back to Saudi Arabia for 6 weeks. But alhamdulillah, like when we went through all the like maybe the more difficult moments, and in fact, who was telling me about this man? What's his name? Jamil, from MRDF, Sheikh Jamil. He was saying that some people that married for the first 5 years are like this, in a straight line, and then or they might start really high, and after that there'll be a straight line, and after 5 years they'll just go back down and it will break. Then he said some marriages, they're like roller coasters, and then straight, and then slowly it goes up. And that's probably how I describe how my one was in the first 5 years, and now it's much better. I'd personally, I think if you feel you're ready for marriage, get yourself ready and go get married. That's what I think people should do, personally, especially in the society that we're living in.
There's a comment here for you.
Is that you? Yeah, Humber talking about marriage. My man, or the little you, and now fully grown man. Still have to pinch myself. Pinch yourself, bro. Shaheed, come on the line. Alhamdulillah.
On what you just said there, see, like I've written on my Instagram page where I kind of do a bit of blogging. I've written about marriage a few times, and the thing is, I've done some of these things called discussion times where I discuss different topics with people, just to kind of engage with people and see what they think. And one of the main problems I've found with a lot of people is like, or not people, I should say, in society in general, is the thing is that we live in a very hyper-sexualized society. So naturally, as like into the craving for intimacy is a natural urge, just like food, right? Everyone needs it, like to different proportions. Some people need
unless
to
you wear tight jeans, yeah.
But like, like different people have different needs and proportions. But the thing is, everyone now, because of what you're exposed to in media, movies, video games, like literally you can't even sit in an elevator without hearing some kind of song that's like, got some like distasteful lyrics in it and stuff. So one of the things that I found is because of that, everyone's urge to get married is much higher than I think it would have been otherwise, because we're exposed to this. But naturally what that leads to is because and it's quite a complex topic, but I feel like there's a rise in, obviously there's a massive rise in the amount of pornography people consume. So especially like with men, they have like certain expectations of what marriage will be because of what the hypersexualized lifestyle has led them to. And then on top of that, you've got women who watch a lot of rom-com movies and a lot of romantic movies and novels and stuff like that, read a lot of novels. So they have a certain expectation of what Prince Charming is meant to be. So when both people enter marriage, a man with a certain expectation of what his intimate life will be, and then you have a woman with a certain expectations of what her Prince Charming will be. And naturally, we all know, because I think all of us are married men here. I'm not sure. Are you married?
Are you the two wives?
I don't know if they can hear me.
Did you hear that? I don't know if they can hear me. Plural.
That's good. So
are you hearing the same drummers that
so yeah, like all of us as married men know the fact that like marriage is not what you imagine it to be from the beginning. You very quickly learn that, okay, she's not going to be a supermodel every day. You're not going to wake up to like, you know, like a Sleeping Beauty next to you every day, and you know you're not going to be Prince Charming every day yourself. She'll realize that very quickly when you know you have your first argument. So when people have realistic expectations of marriage, then it's easier to make it work. Whereas if you have this fantasy concept of who your spouse is supposed to be, naturally it's just going to lead to a lot of conflict, and eventually it goes down to divorce because people just don't, they want their fantasy model. They don't want the realistic model.
It just shows. Look at the boom in the whole fan fiction, young adults category, young adult genre. Like you have, writing young adult fan fiction or young adult fiction has become such a mainstream thing that that's what it's easy money now. That there are so many people between the ages of 20 and 30. Avid consumers out there. You just have to put anything with a provocative title and an interesting front cover, and it will go viral on Reels or on TikTok. And the more provocative it is, the more viral it gets. People.
I saw an advert today of a DAO organization doing something like that, and I was like, yeah, it's mental. But no, alhamdulillah. As you were
I don't know. I don't know if we can show that picture. It's like borderline.
Well, Islam 21C, yeah.
Imagine some man on a poster like that.
If you know, you know, and if you haven't seen it, may Allah protect your eyes.
I mean, but I was cringing after that when I saw it.
It's going to be worse in our minds, though. So you might as well just.
maybe later.
I don't know what's going on up in here, man.
No, coming back at Khidr, what you were saying before about people's expectations, absolutely. And this is, I know people who are ready to get married at 16, 17, mature, stable, level head on their shoulders. And on the other side, people who are 25, 30, 35, Salman, who just, who are not. And this is, see, we've fallen into the trap of this Western notion of being, everyone has this timeline in their head that it's not from Islam. It's like, I'm going to finish my studies by 22. Again, that's another whole topic we could talk about, getting in, doing your study. And then I'm going to work for this much, and then I'm going to get married, and then I'm going to have kids. And then like, whose timeline are you living by? That's not a prophetic timeline, that is a timeline built around mortgages. It's a timeline built around consumerism. It's a timeline built around, but everything that is not what our deen says it should be. If two people are ready to be married and they're of, sound mind and they are mature and they're ready to handle it, then they should get married and the family should facilitate it. I remember years ago, there was a case in Leicester, I believe, where a boy and a girl, they met in college, and they liked each other. And mashallah, being raised well, they went to their parents and said, "Look, we met, we like each other, we want to, we want to spend, we want to get married, etc." And rather than the families saying, "No, no, no, look, you just like college or done," I think one was, I think they were either 17 or 18, they had the nikah done. And for their entire college, university, everything after that, it was perfect. They were married. They could hang out in the library all the time. They can go to Costa. We make it difficult. We put these arbitrary things that, oh no, my son can't get married until he graduates university. Why? If the means are there, if they've got the means to do it, yeah.
Hit the nail on the head. Even the means, this notion of means, right? If let me ask you, you guys, what age are young people having relationships now at?
So, in our youth events, we asked them.
Good segue.
It's probably close to 90 to 95%. That's for brothers and sisters.
What age?
14 plus. Yeah, 14 to 18.
There you go.
I would lower it, to be honest, because
these are based on our thing. But if you actually look at the studies around pornography, young people as young as 10 are accessing pornography on a regular, consistent basis.
I mean, there's always going to be, maybe outliers and really, kind of weird stuff happening. But in terms of like, just as a generation of young people, right? If they and the culture and the norms, if they are unfortunate, however unfortunate they are, that's what they are, right? So in that situation, I think we need to rethink about what we think marriage is. So just as you've said about arbitrary timelines and that kind of stuff, the whole notion of the family, the definition of the family that we have today is a relatively new one, right? Based on atomization of what was traditionally the family. The family or the home used to be, for most of our history, 50, 100, 150 plus people, right?
Yeah, nuclear
Our
family.
architecture was built around that. Pre-colonization, you have in Morocco, you have Riyadh system. In Indian subcontinent, you have Hawelis and that kind of stuff. Whatever. So the idea is, even our architecture, our towns and cities and so forth were built around the notion of a home or a family being some kind of large quartered kind of area where you wouldn't have a definition of a family as man, wife, and 2.4 children. I mean, now it's like 1.7 or whatever, isn't it? But this definition of nuclear family is a completely new one created in modern times. Yeah, according to some people, just to serve the Industrial Revolution, right? In order to and it's been violently spread around the world, and it has its consequences. And the more I look at social issues, the more I see echoes of this issue. That Hannah Arendt, the famous political theorist, she described atomization, social atomization, cutting people up.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So cutting society up into small chunks and silos, into discrete, separate entities. That is a prerequisite to totalitarianism. That's how you control people en masse, by separating them into smaller and smaller units. Before, your family was your entire clan, and that's how we make sense of a lot of historic nusus, is texts of Islam from the Quran and the Sunnah, about what is considered the home and what is considered outside the home. So for a woman, for example, if you're and for a brother as well, who's providing for his family, that's going to be a tremendously difficult thing for a 14, 15-year-old, he's expected to buy a flat or rent someplace or whatever. Whereas historically, for most of our, history as a human race, not just even Islamically, but generally across cultures and time, the family and marriages and unions and relationships have been part of a broader social fabric, right? You don't need your own living space. You don't need your whole own kind of home or building or whatever. You have your own quarters in a broader kind of interconnected society, so social context. So right now, right now it's alongside the kind of arbitrary timeline that Ayub spoke about. Also, the notion of what do we feel marriage is marriage, does marriage mean you're supposed to be mature enough to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, or does marriage mean this is a halal way for you to have a relationship with someone? Yeah, and the responsibilities that come with it are based on, you know, whatever is required of you in outside the marriage sense, right? So
See, this discussion is so interesting because whoever you talk to, everyone is coming from a particular perspective, a particular viewpoint. You know, even this notion that we have today that, oh, like there's a trend on social media about mortgage versus marriage and how women are going for mortgages rather than getting married. I'm going to take care of me first before I get married. You know, mortgage over marriage. It's really scary. I don't know where my camera went. Can you guys still hear me?
yeah,
I just need to pause you.
you're back.
There we go.
I just need to pause you quickly. You might want to turn your light on while you do that, inshallah.
Oh, we went back to the other camera.
Yeah, just for the listeners, do donate, inshallah. The link, I think, is in the comment section. £75 covers the cost of an event. Let's try and raise enough for 10. £15 a month, you have the option to give monthly. Covers the cost for one youth every single month. Give £5, £10, right? No amount is too little, and no amount is too much. As you know, لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون, right? You have not maybe achieved greatness, right? Al-bir, however you want to translate it in this context, until you give from what you love. What that means is that it should affect your pocket, it should affect your heart a little bit, and it should bring you closer to Allah. Today could be an odd night. The donation, if it is multiplied by 1,000 a month in reward. So yeah, take the opportunity, give inshallah. And a reminder, we work with youth week in, week out. Inshallah, by the end of this year, 2021, we'll be working with 800 youth every single week across 20.
Inshallah.
That's what we're fundraising for. We have, as an organization, we don't have a shortage of mosques to work with. We've got our program set in place. And inshallah, with Allah's help, this work will carry on with or without us. But the question is that, are you going to be a part of this and take the opportunity to inshallah take your reward in that? So when a young person comes and they might have an issue of pre-marriage relationships, and that might really affect them mentally when they grow up. They might give their heart out and to everyone, and then be broken 2 or 3 years down the line. If through being a part of us, they can understand these things, and even if they get married and they have children, and these children pray, and these parents learn to pray and learn how to parent, that reward is all yours. Inshallah. So please be a part of it. If you have any questions, if you want to be a part of the conversation, the link is on the comment section as well. The StreamYard link. Jump on. What I do now, I just take this question from Dorian Yab.
Before you do that, sorry, just a reminder: when you donate, brothers and sisters, remember your parents, your intention as well, and your family ones. Somebody just wrote, "This is Sadaqah Jariyah for my late mum, Fatima Ahmed. Please give dua for her, inshallah, as well. May Allah give her the highest level of Jannah." I mean, I just saw that somewhere that somebody donated, mashallah, tabarakallah. Allah accept it.
Ameen. Going to the question, growing up, even not just your parents, you can give it on behalf of the entire ummah. I think Shaykh Hasan speaks about this actually. When you make a donation, you can say, I'm giving it on behalf of the ummah. And the entire ummah will get barakah from that. And I think we're in need of that, to be honest with you. And that's how you can really, that's really, that's next level thinking, mashallah. May Allah bless our mashayikh. I mean, growing up listening to the phrase happily ever after have led many people to have unrealistic expectations from their partners. And when reality hits them hard, they find it very difficult to adjust. Khidr, what are your thoughts on this comment?
You know what? I definitely agree with that. And I think it goes back to that same mentality of having this kind of picture perfect, happy family idea in your head. And Sheikh Akram actually talks about this in class. He talks about how that this dunya was not made to be Jannah. Jannah is where you have your happily ever after. That's where everything is perfect, where all happiness truly exists. In this dunya, everything is a test. So when it's going good for you, it's a test. When it's going bad for you, it's a test. And I often say this to people who ask me about marriage, because quite a few people actually ask me about getting married young and stuff. So I tell them that, look, in my opinion, we know that marriage is half your deen, right? We ask ourselves, why is it half our deen? And I was pondering about this a few years ago, and this is my own kind of thing. I don't know if any scholars have verified this or whether they would agree or disagree with it. But with marriage, you naturally come through so many more tests than you would if you were single. You are tested with the responsibility of someone. You're tested with the having patience with your spouse.
Your wife can't hear you, can she?
She's not at home actually, so
okay, that's why you're saying it so brazenly. Our marriage is full of testament.
I love my wife, just in case she ever watches this back. Please don't kill me in my sleep. Anyway, but what I was saying is that everyone really, like, you really feel that marriage is a test, because you will naturally find stuff that you disagree about with your spouse, because you're both human beings with your own perfections and imperfections. You will have your own viewpoints. You're gonna naturally there's gonna be times where you're gonna be upset, angry, frustrated, and you might take it out on them, and vice versa. And then also through marriage comes children, which is another level of tests. So when we say that marriage is half your deen, the way I look at it is because it adds a whole dimension of your life that a lot of your tests are going to come from. And with that is the opportunity for great reward or great punishment, depending on how you handle those tests.
Alhamdulillah. We got Brother Haider Ali on the call. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Brother Haider, you're on mute. If you take yourself off mute, we can hear you, inshallah. We'll come back to Brother Haider, inshallah. No, subhanAllah, test, bro. Test. Life is a test. Yeah, subhanAllah.
Wait, so I got an interesting question. So if marriage is half your deen, and then we know at-tahurun shatrul iman. If you're like, how do we reconcile this?
It's the remaining half. All of these.
Get married and shower, and then khalas, you're done. Well, when you get married, you do shower a lot when you first get married. Anyway.
Fair point.
Hey, this is an after dark show. We can.
I think Brother Haider is back. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Haider. Brother Haider, you're on the live show.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Where? Haider, can you turn your camera on?
While we're waiting for Haider, I would also maybe chime in on the last question of I don't know if it's a sister or brother who made it. This happily ever after stuff, there's no reason you can't be happily ever after anyway. It's all in, how you approach these tests and stuff anyway. Imam Ahmad once said that when a wife of his passed away, he said for 20 or 40 years, she never did anything that annoyed me. Right. And when the scholars discuss this, they're like, well, it's not really possible for that to be literally true, right? I mean, Sheikh Haytham said the same thing. He met someone, old man. He was talking about his wife for 60 years, where he said she never did anything that upset him. She never said no, whatever. And he's like, what you find statements like this from people, and what they're showing is their actual mindset. Is when something does happen that is annoying, they just forget about it because they want to desire success for the marriage, right? So even when a little blip comes, you especially as a man. I mean, it's different. The psychology of women is perhaps a bit different, but as a man, you can actually interpret every hiccup, every argument, every whatever as something positive, right? And just kind of overlook anything that annoyed you, and you'll actually be happier. You'll actually literally be a happier person. It's in your hands after tawfiq of Allah, obviously. So even when something is happily ever after thing, it can be. Why not? Why can't you just
It's, you know that
desire happiness for the marriage? If you desire happiness, then you'll be happy, right?
so
Even if there's a bit of friction or whatever, but you interpret that through the lens of, okay, I want success for this and happiness. And anytime you're on the brink of, okay, should I start an argument or should I just turn it into a joke and be happy or whatever?
Sometimes turning it into a joke doesn't help, bro. I can speak from experience.
no, but it's that mindset is so powerful, though.
Yeah. Before we take Ilyas's comment, when you were speaking, it reminded me actually. So I don't have any sisters, right? We're all brothers. We're 4 brothers. So when I first got married, I had zero empathy for women. I just did not understand them at all. Yeah, bro. So I remember the first time my wife cried. I'm like, "Why are you crying for? Stop crying. What's wrong with you?" But it's much better now, alhamdulillah.
I can relate.
Now you cry together.
I can...
Brother Ilyas, if you put your if the producer could put Ilyas's question in, a really good question actually. And what if you have the opposite vision? What if you don't see a reason of getting married? If you don't mind, I'll start the answer, and you guys can add on.
I don't understand the question though. Opposite.
If someone doesn't want to get married, someone just doesn't want to get married. Yeah.
Okay.
I personally think it's not everyone, but if you don't want to get married, something's not right. Either it means you're making yourself happy in other ways, basically. That's what I think it means, or it means, so that's one option. Something's not right. The other thing is you're just really, really pious, and you're too busy reading books and writing books.
So something's not right there.
But it's one of the two. Right? So yeah, I'll give it to the Salman.
I mean, look, if you don't want to get married, no one can force you, but it is sunnah, and it brings about so many other fruits. So yeah, I mean, everyone's different. So maybe I know some brothers got married very late. So maybe you make use of your free time, make use of your resources, gain knowledge, build something productive. And when the time's right, get married. If your parents are saying though you should get married, then definitely, at least out of birrul walidain, Allah will bless the marriage, inshallah. If you don't marry someone you don't like, whatever, but the fact that if parents are, would want this for their children, probably most would, then in doing so, it's an act of worship. That's a primary, reason to get married. It's ibadah.
Definitely. Subhanallah. What was I going to say?
It's interesting. Khidr, do you wanna add anything?
Mutahad does. Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Kareem. Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, just to add to that, I completely agree with Salman's kind of take on the issue. I do think that it's wrong to. I don't think it would be right to make someone who doesn't want to get married to get married. I think that would be counterproductive because, and I'm talking based on like Western experience. Here, people have a sense of individualism. So when there is when you do force someone to do something that they don't want to do, usually it doesn't go very well. Whether that's like you force your kid to be a doctor, or whether you force someone to get married in a relationship they clearly don't want to be in. With marriage, it's worse because that it could backfire not only on the family itself, but also on the girl who, or the guy, whoever's a not forced party, it can really hurt them because naturally the other person doesn't really want them to be there. So yeah, I think it is a sunnah. It is something that should be encouraged. But yeah, everyone's different.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, yeah. But I have seen people who didn't want to get married. In fact, we do youth work, right? We've been doing it for 10 years. Some of them, I knew them when I was 16 years old. They got into forced marriages, yeah. At the beginning, they didn't like it, and now they're really content. In fact, most people that I know that stuck at it and had the resilience with it, they're just really happy with it. In fact, I know of a story where a sister, this wasn't too long ago, her brother who comes to our events, you know, she had a relationship that wasn't halal, you know, and all of us with the intention to get married, and then all of a sudden she said to her dad, "I'll marry my cousin," and she married her cousin, and now they're really happy, like a few years down the line. I do also think that, yeah, I do think it can work.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be like extreme case and stuff, yeah, like maybe just people forcing stuff. But we need to remember, and young people especially, the two people who care about your long-term success more than anyone else, more than popular culture, more than social media algorithms, more than anything else, are your parents. They in normal circumstances, they know you better than you know yourself, especially if you're, you know, at an age where, you know, naturally hormones, you get that kind of hype, you get that kind of sense of you know, knowing things that you're or knowing better than your parents. So that's why, you know, advice is all just get counsel of your elder family members, you know, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, parents. If they say you're ready, then you're ready.
So this is, I think, Salman, you mentioned this before. One of the things that we're working on in Islamic Network is a millennial youth survey that we're going to be launching after Ramadan. And in our initial beta test of it, you know, where we sent it out, one of the responses we just remembered, they talk about. Is
that just for sons?
Well, I can hear.
I think, Hayder, we're getting some background from you, echo from you. I'm just going to mute. There we go.
Is there a Beti test as well? It's only for betas.
Oy, yeah, and in his response, brother puts one of the reasons why he doesn't want to get married is because he has easy access to pornography. He said, "Why would I?" And may Allah bless this person for his honesty and sincerity. Filled out the entire survey, every single question, like, and he was there. He's like, "Why would I want to put myself in this situation to be responsible for another person? You know, I can fulfill my desires this way. It's really easy, it's accessible, etc." And it goes back to this notion of purpose. Why we're here. Like, these things are, all of these institutions, the institution of marriage, the nikah, whilst it is super simple to perform, there is a whole institution behind it. It's a pillar of society. It brings, you know, families together. It brings communities together. The offspring of which, you know, are the next generation of the future generation of Islam. You know, it's when you look at it from just, oh, I don't feel like getting married. What you're doing is you're removing yourself from the equation that is the ummah. You know, you're removing yourself from the equation that is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam intending, wishing that his ummah is the largest ummah on the Day of Judgment. You know, there's Sheikh Ahmed Didat, rahimahullah, he has this one of his golden sayings: is, if you can't propagate, procreate. No, it's like, and he's
I
like,
haven't heard that one before.
Bro, you should Google it.
So you from South Africa, man?
Yeah. Come on, what are you?
Guys, we've got a caller, Hayder Ali. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh yeah, assalamu alaikum, Hayder. Let me unmute.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you guys doing?
Alhamdulillah, how you doing, man?
Alhamdulillah, I can't complain. We're in the blessed 10 nights. So Alhamdulillah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us, especially in these 10 nights, and to make us really do the best we can in this month of Ramadan, and especially in these last 10 nights, to seek the maghfirah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
What's the dua we should be reading? Isn't it
Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni.
Who knows the meaning for that dua?
Who doesn't know the meaning of that dua?
That is obviously all for mercy.
No.
You missed it. Haydar,
tell us about your marriage journey.
Oh, the lovely marriage journey.
The ups and downs of it.
Well, the good thing is, I don't know if this is a good thing. So, as Ayub knows, I'm one of the brothers who's not married yet. So to tell you my marriage journey is going to be a very interesting one.
A low blow.
Yeah, very low blow, exactly. So, in terms of the marriage journey,
any sisters watching, or fathers watching of sisters, Haydar Ali is very good boy, mashallah.
Salman, you shouldn't joke.
Mic issues and webcam issues sometimes, but inshallah you can overlook.
Salman, you shouldn't joke, because that is exactly how Hamza got married. Asaduddin outed him on stage and he got married.
We'll get to that. Right now, the most important person here is Haydar. You were saying before Salman rudely interrupted you.
No, that's perfectly fine. So, the marriage journey is
again. He said it's perfectly fine.
It's whenever Salman. So whenever Dr. Salman comes out with stuff, I admire it, because it brings out a good flavor. So mashallah, it's good. It's good. But in terms of my marriage journey, look, even though it's been in the early years, the last 2.5 years of looking for a wife, looking for a spouse, it's an interesting journey, because you sort of find out who you are in this time. You understand who you are. You sort of connect with yourself, and in terms of clarity on what you're looking for in today's world for a future spouse, and in the akhirah, because that's what you want. You want someone to when you marry that one, you want that spouse to take you to Jannah, and I think that's the key thing. There's about background noise. Is that mine, or is that someone else's?
I think it might be yours, bro. Because we don't have it.
Does that work now?
It is better now.
Okay. So I think when I'm looking for a spouse, or when I'm looking for someone, I'm looking from the perspective of how do I myself, and how would my future spouse actually get to Jannah, because that's what you really want. And it has been a journey, looking through many. I've looked at many sisters over here and sisters abroad. So for those of you who don't know me, I've spent a number of years in the Middle East. So I've lived in Dubai, I've lived in Saudi. I know Dubai is a bit of it's one of those places where you would say, is that really the Middle East? Because nobody speaks Arabic there. But
I'm letting everyone know that's listening. Here is a live marriage TV, mashallah. Back to you.
Yeah, so it's
I'm one of those moves. But back to you.
No problem.
We should switch from calls for donations and turn this into like start taking bids for Haydar's.
Whoever donates £500, all right, they go to the front of the list for the system.
Wait, only women get a mahar, bro.
YouTube's terms of agreement here and community
community engagement
guidelines.
Well, I was going to say this I was gonna say this is not a charity fundraising for Haider. Okay, it's not a hashtag stand for Haider or something like that.
No Hayden left behind.
Exactly.
I like that. That would work as a good hashtag.
But yeah, so in terms of the journey's been full of ups and downs. And in terms of what you're looking for, I would say you need to be true to yourself. So my mum always says this to me all the time. Whenever you're looking for a spouse, don't try to fit your life around someone else. You should have a set requirement of what you want. Of course, marriage is full of compromises, and you're going to compromise on a number of different things, but you shouldn't. If there are key things you want in your spouse, you should never ever give up on those, and that's what I do believe in.
Said like a true unmarried man.
So we'll take this to Nora. We'll take this to Nora's question after, inshallah. You know, subhanallah, how do you really know if someone's going to take you to Jannah, right? You're never going to know that until like someone's true character, I think, until you'll never know someone, even if someone's having a relationship with someone, but they're not living together and they're not sharing the same bed together and they're not in the same space together, like living together. They'll never know, to be quite frank. What I will say though is when people are married, one of the things I hear is, and I personally don't like this statement, be patient with one another. Patience is a fard upon every Muslim, right? We are obliged to be patient. I think another way of saying that is one, as men, we're shepherds to our family. And I think you want someone who will support you rather than just being patient with you, someone who will support you. I remember one piece of marriage advice I got that was really good was have a conversation with your wife when you first get married and be like, look, if I get angry, or if you get angry, if I get angry, you just have to do nothing about it and you have to be patient. And afterwards, you can do whatever you want. You hit me with a pan if you want. And same thing, vice versa. So I'm not sure if
I wouldn't recommend hitting your wife with a pan, by the way. It never works out.
You tried it, yeah?
I'm not saying I speak from experience, no.
That's just a waste of fun.
So yeah, I'm not sure about this like thing on taking them to Jannah. But you do want someone who fears Allah.
Yeah.
You want someone that is Allah first. When you do have an argument, when you do make mistakes, I think if someone fears Allah, they'll come back, they'll apologize, right? Or you will apologize. Or you will say you said something or you made a decision to do something, and later on you realize that maybe Allah wouldn't be happy with that, or your wife will realize that. You will change your ways, right? It's just the go-to rule, I guess. But Salman's been married for longer than us.
I just wanted to add
something that like young people are even
Go ahead.
talking about though. Is this relevant? I mean, how many young people in your survey in the beta test? How many young people said that they want to actually get married, or were they more like the example you gave? You know, that I don't need to get married or whatever because we have Uber Eats and pornography and everything.
No, I think some of them want to get married, and in the game spots that we have, when we had this discussion, actually, they all said they want to be married by the time they're 18. Every single one of them.
Mashallah.
But then again, they've been coming to our program for the last 6 months. Must be paying off. But alhamdulillah. If I could ask the producer to put Sister Nora's question up, but Khidr, you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I wanted to add something. I think this came up actually on social media, but it's something that like I really have to speak about all the time. And it's the over-romanticization of marriage amongst Muslims, especially non-married Muslims. So there was a picture that was posted on I don't know if it was Facebook or Facebook or Instagram or something, but it was of these two Muslim couple, and like after Salah, they're nicely cuddling together, like with their musallas out, and they're like, you know, she's in full hijab, and they look like they're doing tasbih together or something. And literally everyone that shared that was like, you know, it had that caption that says, you know, inshallah, we will pray like this together, and all of that kind of stuff. And
no, a friend of mine, he's got a whole like
I was-
all of these cringe pictures, man.
Oh, please can we invite Ijaz on? Salman messaged me.
Shiply.
Oh, the ships. I know Ijaz, he went hard on that picture of, the husband holding the wife's hand and doing tasbih on her
Oh
hand.
yeah.
Ijaz went in on it. Oh my God.
It's that kind of stuff, like seriously, like, and it's always shared by usually people that are not married. And the reason it's because they've got this like romanticized idea of what marriage looks like. It's like, oh, I want to marry someone so they can wake me up for Fajr in the morning. It's like, your mom's been trying to wake you up for the last 20 years. You've not been waking up. What do you think your wife is going to have any luck for? Like, get up your own self. What's wrong with you? Your wife isn't here to be your alarm clock. It's the wrong mentality to come at marriage with, because it's not true.
But Islamically, it's a responsibility of the man, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the other way around.
It's actually the other
Fair. But also, I'll just say for the record, doing tasbih on your wife's fingers isn't very like productive either. Like, it's much easier to do it on your own fingers or to have your own misbah.
Oh, subhanallah. Salman, at the beginning of this discussion, and I'm going to come back to the question, inshallah. Khidr was speaking about, and myself and Khidr were speaking about the first 5 years, right? For you, you've been, I guess, through the next 5 years, where the children get older. I think you're homeschooling as well. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share that information, but I have now, I guess.
I just share my address as well.
How different is year 5 to 10 compared to year 0 to 5? I think it's important for people to understand this, because the reason why I'm asking this is, especially in the younger generation, I'm talking about people who are like 19, 20 that go through divorce. They might have a baby, and I feel personally that there might be some postnatal depression, etc., or you just had a kid and things are changing, and people just give up straight away. How are the next 5 to 10 years?
I'm always wary of like sharing my own kind of experience, because it's not very scientific. It's like a sample size of one.
We're not in a science class, mate.
And I don't
Not a PhD, Salman.
I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm a pretty sick husband, alhamdulillah. So even my own experience is going to be skewing people's kind of, expectations. As you can see, I've even got this mug. Yeah.
You got it yourself, right?
It was given to me by
I hope you would be the number one dad, right?
It was a proper
By the shop owner.
committee that did. I think there's only one of these mugs in the world or something. Maybe a few just for in case like one breaks.
See, what I think is that Salman is actually just advertising himself for number 2.
No. I'm not here. Shh, he's listening. Help me.
Oh, subhanallah.
I love the wife. SOS, blink.
I think it's a good time to go into the questions. If you put up, this Nora's question was about what if you're afraid to have children. Yeah. It'd be good to have a sister on here. I don't really want to answer it. It'd be good to have a sister on here for that.
Yeah, all the sisters in our team and in our group chat are laughing at us right now. So I've told them to come on the show.
Maybe they're the ones that are typing away. Typing.
Yeah, I can hear. Can you? All of you guys hear typing? I can just hear click clack all the time.
I think it's the drummer in Hamza's head.
Wait,
no, bro, I think it's your mic. Man. I think it's your mic.
The drumming roommate.
Is it me?
I think you need a new XLR cable for your mic, Dr. Salman.
Me? No, it's not me.
No,
yeah, 1 second. Wait, here, ready? Let's make it. There you go. He's muted.
Yeah, it's fine now.
No, is it me?
Is it me?
Is it still
okay?
right?
I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. Is it me? Is it me that you're hearing?
It's Hamza. Anytime Hamza's unmuted,
it's Hamza.
It's his drummer in his head. Man. I knew it. He's doing
okay, let me go on mute.
I'm tapping on. He's not realizing.
I don't know who it is. It might be.
Anyway, you guys got hacked, man. Please donate to Islamic Network so they can find the hackers. and save the children from hellfire.
No. Brothers and sisters, I do want to just say, please do donate. It's the last. Is it the last Saturday night in England? I think it is.
Middle third.
Middle third.
Depends
when
if you're following the right calendar or not.
No, man.
Let's not do that on this.
Let's not get into that discussion.
MashaAllah,
when
brother
you-
named Ahsan Latif has donated £100. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Man,
I'm
bless
gonna
him.
claim the swab for that one, inshallah, because he's
Yes.
someone
Because
Salman,
straight after him, somebody else close to us donated. Alhamdulillah.
I'll take the credit for that one as well.
that means we're about £500 away from our target. That could be one person just donating £500. I know, mashallah, Salman's rich, so he must have rich friends. So yeah, donate. If you do want to call in and motivate other people with your donations, you're welcome.
I think our
If you want to give your bank account and sort code details and your mother's maiden name as well.
So yeah, we're joined in the comments. I can see by our team, Amatullah, Jamila, Hadia have all they've decided to come and troll us in the comments. Alhamdulillah. Amatullah goes.
Gonna join.
Amatullah says, I think all the brothers are tired. Alhamdulillah. But
I think Amatullah should join this.
I've been.
Oh, by the way.
Oh yeah, you guys are related, right?
Well, she's my wife's sister.
We've got Nora on the call.
So I think Nora asked a question and we haven't really answered her question, so she's now come to tell us off.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so my question was, what if you are afraid from marriage? Okay, like, because responsibilities in raising, like, I have that idea of, like, raising a kid and making him, facing that world, and you already know that it's getting worse. So, like I feel I'm not ready to be, asked for that. Even like from a religious perspective, I'm not ready to do that. And like, there's people who are not married. So what makes me special and qualified for being married and raising a kid?
Sister Nora, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What do you think will make you ready? And what do you think will make you feel like, yeah, I'm ready and I can do this now and I can have children now? What do you think that would be?
I don't know. I'm not just ready.
Yeah, the reason why I asked. Sorry, Sister Nora, I can't hear it.
Like, be like more. Like, I feel myself spoiled, So like someone who's more responsible, who's ready to, because under any pressure, I just collapse. So I feel like I won't be ready to raise a kid. Like, I have my nieces around me, and when they cry, I cry. Just we both crying. So so how I'm gonna be like that person? That be sometimes strict, sometimes deal with them with more hikmah. These things is for me scary, kind of.
I'm quite a hands-off father. I'll be honest with you. So I will leave the answer to anyone on my right or that way to answer.
Go ahead, Salman.
The first kid is always like the experiment one, isn't it? So
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I love my kids, but I would say, look, the quick answer is, who knows you more, who knows you well, who has your best interests at heart. Make shura with them, consult them. If they think you're ready, then it may be that you're just being overly cautious. But if people who know you, people who love you and have your best interests at heart, when they say you're ready, like your father, your mother, elder siblings, for example, if you have elder family members, then just take their consultation, do istikhara, and have tawakkul in Allah.
And to add to that, I just wanted to mention that the thing with marriage and having kids is it's one of those things that you can never 100% fully be ready for ever. It's kind of like swimming. You can read as many books as you want. You can hear as many people talk about it as you want, but you'll only ever learn what it is through experience. You have to kind of be thrown in the deep end and just kind of say, all right, stop paddling, you know?
Oil drown.
Yeah, more or less. So I don't know if that's motivating, but that's how I find it.
Now she has a phobia of swimming as well, thanks.
Yeah.
And also, to add to what Salman said, right, getting married, one of the reasons to get married is obviously to have children, but it doesn't mean you have to be ready to have children to get married either. You can get married and then you'll have children, and you'll be ready once you have your children, I think. Inshallah. Unless there's something you want to add, I do want to go to the next question.
Somebody in the comments said, Iriba said we can have a call later. I think his sister can give us some one-on-one advice, inshallah, afterwards.
Inshallah.
It's good.
Inshallah. Okay, we're only £250 away from our target on this blessed night. SubhanAllah, if someone donates that, and if it is Laylatul Qadr, that's £250 for 83 years, or over 83 years. It's khayr min alfi shahr, better than 1,000 months. Make that donation, inshallah, for the sake of Allah. But there was another question that I wanted to get to. I can really hear a big background noise. I don't know.
Yeah.
7.5 million pounds you'll get a reward of, inshallah, plus.
It's not me.
If it's Qadr tonight and you do £250, you could get like 7.5 million pounds reward.
All right, so I've muted Hamza. Let's keep talking and see if it's Hamza. Maybe.
No, I think other people are unmuted that aren't on the screen.
No, all the others are gone. I'm gonna kick Haider off. See you later, Haider. Join us on YouTube, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. All right, Haider's out.
When the sister Nora had joined on, I think maybe if she's still unmuted or something.
Well, it looks like the sisters have come in the comments. The sisters have come to Nora's rescue. So Dure Nayab says, let's discuss later. Ariba goes, Nora, talk to me. You'll be ready after one call.
Alhamdulillah. If you could put
yeah, Hamza, it's you. As soon as you unmuted, the clickety clack started again. So maybe if you
me banging this.
No, it's there. Try leaving and coming back. Try leaving and coming back. So alhamdulillah, let's go to
let's start slagging him off now.
Yeah, so now I can should we just not let him back on?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, so 7.5 million. Is that your? That's
yeah,
your
250 times, 30,000. So 30 days in a month, and the higher level, and Allah will give you more, inshallah. 1,000 months plus. I asked my son just now a few hours ago, Ibrahim, and he added the 700 times as well, because normally in Ramadan Allah will magnify your rewards up to 700 times. So
this is a proper countdown. It's like, how did you get to the number?
we're really doing maths on
so
Ramadan.
I had to be.
So I do 250. So here you go, Carol. I did 250 multiplied by 30 multiplied by 1,000.
Well, if you do multiply by 700 again, it's 5,250,000,000. Subhanallah.
Brother says 500, 400.
He's not on the call and he can still hear the noise.
But we can't hear the noise.
I can hear the noise, really. I can't hear the clicking. That was it. The clicking was him. But I'm hearing some noise since.
I feel that someone's preparing an airplane for a quick escape.
Yeah.
The jet engines just.
So, brothers and sisters.
Ouch.
There you go. £250 away. Who will be? Yeah. Here's our countdown question: 250 by 30 by 1,000 by 700 equals. The reward is like
$1 billion.
Dr. Salman, we were talking just before we went live about one of the benefits of Laylatul Qadr. Maybe you can share with us. But the people of the past, previous generations, we know their lifespans were longer. And maybe that's one of the wisdoms of Laylatul Qadr, that in one night, if we're to catch it, we can accumulate the same, 950 years like Nuh alayhi salam. Is that thinking sahih?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's what made the Prophet ﷺ happy, that, how is my ummah with 60, 70, 80-year lifespan? How can we compete on a cosmic scale with previous nations? And this, this gift to the ummah, Laylatul Qadr, you can live 50 years, but you can have the rewards and the good deeds of someone who lived for millennia, 83 years plus, and there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ mentioned two brothers. One strove in the path of Allah, he died martyr, he did lots of extra good deeds, and one didn't do as many good deeds in terms of wasn't as active, but Allah gave him 1 year longer life, and he was in a high level of Jannah. The Prophet ﷺ, and the Sahaba were surprised. The Prophet ﷺ said, didn't he witness another Ramadan? Yeah, so in Ramadan, just barakah, full of barakah all the time anyway. But Laylatul Qadr in particular, very, very important. And forget all this nonsense that people are sharing about, here's the odd nights, this date and that date. It could be odd night or even night. Yeah. Especially
any of the last 10 nights.
Bradford or Birmingham or whatever. The odd is out even or whatever. And some people might say, you depending, there's the ambiguity depending on when we started or when it's going to end and so forth. So it could be any of these nights. So exert yourself as much as possible in all of these nights. Sheikh Haytham made a checklist last year. We just kind of rejigged it and shared it around just now today. You can just sit before Maghrib, renew your intention, and just go through this checklist of good deeds that you can do. Make adhan for Maghrib, do the adhkar and the after the adhan and during adhan and so forth. Say La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulku lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir 100 times. Say Subhanallah wa bihamdihi Subhanallah al-azim 100 times. Pray Taraweeh within your masjid or by yourself if your masjid is closed or something. And so easy to pray Taraweeh at home, and the night prayer generally, you can pray inshallah with holding a mushaf, holding your tablet. I've got a little stand for my iPad, so I'm chilling, just standing there, and it's right in front of me, mashallah. You can enjoy your time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and donate, just even if it's just a bit every day, spread it up every day.
This is the checklist, right? I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, excellent. Inshallah.
What's the website to find that, Salman?
The original.
I don't think I don't think it's on the Samsung. See, it might be on our social media and stuff. It should be on our social media channels.
Cool.
But we don't normally put the visualized graphics on the site. We should do when we're making a new site now where we can have that facility to properly display them, inshallah.
Yeah.
To sort of start wrapping up this episode of Here for Youth After Dark, I want to ask you guys a question. Dr. Salman, right? I've heard someone else answer this before. If the Prophet ﷺ, right, if he could recite anything from the Quran to you, any surah from the Quran, what surah would it be and why?
Wow.
Maybe you might answer first. My one's really simple. It'd be Baqarah because it's the longest.
That was literally what I was gonna say. That was what I was.
That's like one of those hacks. Like, it's like, oh yeah.
Salman.
I don't know, man. That's a good one. Good question. I'm gonna have to think about this one, man. I mean, obviously, Baqarah is the longest. That's good. Maybe, but I don't know. I'm thinking of. Let us know in the comments. Give me some ideas, ladies and gents.
If I wasn't to go for Baqarah because it's been the longest, I would probably either go for Surah Al-Kahf, because that's just one surah that I really enjoy reading, and it's not because it's got Khidr alayhi salam mentioned in it. It would either be Surah Al-Kahf.
Yeah, I recognized you from somewhere.
He lives. Surah
Hey, some say
Yasin.
he's still alive.
Yeah, some people still believe he's still alive, but I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, we need to zoom in on
No
that
comment.
eyebrow raise. We need to zoom in on that. Yeah.
But it would either be Surah
Maybe
Al-Kahf,
this.
Surah Rahman, or Surah Yasin.
Abu Bakr Arum. Abu Bakr, it would have been good to have you on the show for this topic. Abu Bakr's older brother got married when he was 16. MashaAllah, it would have been excellent to have him on as well. Surah Ikhlas 3 times, so it's like he read the whole Quran to you. Okay, subhanAllah. SubhanAllah. My second question that I wanted to ask you, before we conclude as well. 17. Omar got married when he was 17. My second question.
I haven't seen him in years. He was my Sabil classmate in
I was
2007, 8, and 9.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember Omar fun
legendary.
till he up and moved to Birmingham.
My second question. So the first question being, and you're thinking about it, if the Prophet could recite anything from the Quran, what would it be? My second question is, if you knew you only had one day left, right, to live, how would you spend the last part of that day?
Oh, I've got a long answer to this question. It's going to annoy some people. It's like I might do a separate video for this, but it's based on a true story of a brother, uncle of one of my friends here. My friend was a sheikh. I don't want to mention his name. His uncle, his dad's friend, right? Oh, now the sound is gone. So who was it? Are you maybe? Anyway, should I say the doctors I was just gonna give you a rundown, quick run in. Yeah, he's an entrepreneur style person. He's clever. He has, a shrewd businessman and stuff. Doctors gave him, I think in Bangladesh, doctors gave him like 6 months to live. Yeah, and what many people would have done was like, okay, let me just give all my money away to charity or whatever. But he was clever. Yeah, he set something up which was going to be perpetually increasing. Yeah, so he hired he built got a building built to be an orphanage, hired teachers and so forth, and chefs and all that kind of stuff. And he said, I want 5 orphans, yeah, to live here, get trained up, okay, learn and be able to learn a skill, proper make a living and so forth, with the condition that they're helped later on in life to set up an orphanage for 5 orphans of their own, and they do the same, and they do the same, and they do the same, right? So that if you imagine 25 years is one generation, so for the next 25 years, imagine if he died, he's going to have the reward of helping 5 orphans. Yeah, I've got my calculator open in front of me just to do this maths. After another 25 years, he's sitting in his grave. Yeah, he's got the reward of 25, so 5 times 5. Yeah, orphans that are being looked after. After another 20, so after 50 years of him being in his grave, it'll be 125 orphans. After 75 years, it'll be 625. Then, after 100 years of him being in his grave, he would get the reward of helping and looking after 3,000 orphans. Then, another 25 years, 15,000. 150 years after his death, 78,000. 175 years after his death, 390,000 orphans, right? Or poor people. He would be getting the reward of, supporting. And after 200 years of him being in his grave, if this perpetual endowment system is running smoothly, you would be getting the reward of supporting almost 2 million orphans. And you would run out of orphans by that time anyway. right? But the idea was he was a shrewd businessman. He put this plan in place that he wants to do this in a particular area or whatever, and there was a lot of orphans. And last I heard, he was still alive. He didn't die after 6 months. Yeah, he set something up. Maybe because of that, it was an inspiring thing that I heard. And, you know, I would say try and do that. Do something like that, something that is perpetual. Yeah. Or, you know, set something up or help people who are setting something up, which is going to increase your rewards while you're in your grave, rather than and you know, that's why we should be shrewd with our own time and our capital as well. You know, investment, what gives us the best return of our investment, you know, in terms of our good deeds. So that's why youth work is very important. You know, the Prophet ﷺ, you know, he told Ali bin Abi Talib that if Allah guides one person to Islam through, is better than, you know, red camels. It's better than the Ferrari. It's better than the Lamborghini. Yeah. So do things. I would try and, you know, focus on things that will help me get a long-term kind of compound interest investment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
SubhanAllah, SubhanAllah. Again, if you're listening, this is a true Sadaqah Jariyah project to donate in. You know, one of the youth, I remember a few years later, he changed his life through the events. Obviously through Allah. We were able to be a means of that. I remember a few years later he had raised £7,000 for Syrian orphans, you know, at that time. That's, you're not, when you're doing something, when you're investing in people, you're investing in everything that they do. And then the children, and then the children, and then the children. If it was that, if someone couldn't read Salah, if someone didn't know Surah Fatiha, you know, 7% of the youth, I did a survey to 450 youth, only 7% of them knew how to pray Salah, right? And Ayub didn't actually believe me, I don't think, when I told him. And then Ayub started, when he was attending the events, I would ask them, we'd be in an event, there'd be 70 youth, and I'd ask them, how many of you can pray Salah without making mistakes? Maybe 4 of them will put their hands up. We'd be in an event with 30 youth, only 1 of them will put their hand up. We never had more than 3 people ever put their hands up, that they know how to pray Salah without any mistakes. Then we, you know, because we've built a relationship with them, we speak to them about the importance of Salah, and we give them a step-by-step Salah guide. Yeah, and we ask them, right, who promises, and this Salah guide, it just has the arkan of Salah. It doesn't even have all the sunnah of Salah. It just has the arkan of Salah. And I ask them, who's going to memorize this within the next 24 hours? Every single one of them put their hands up. You know, now imagine he learns to pray because of that. He establishes Salah, and then now he makes sure his children know how to pray, and they make their children know how to pray. The youth are not the future, right? They are the present, and their children are the future. So when you invest in youth work, you're investing in 7, based on my own research, when someone makes a change in their life, it affects the next 7 generations, right? Of that person. That's what you're investing in. So really, like, take that time out. Go to the link, inshallah. It's the last third. It's the last third of the night. It's the odd night. You know, make that donation. You know, inshallah, and post it here. Once you made it, call in, put a post on, motivate other people to also donate, inshallah. Khidr, if you could not be as complicated and shrewd as Dr. Salman, but Dr. Salman, the shrewd guy, you can see, and he made time for this call.
Mashallah.
He wants you to just say donate £250 to Islamic Network, and then
that wasn't the intention.
go and join Ayub with his khichdi and whatever he's eating.
Oh, I saved my milk cake right there.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm eating a bowl of salads, and Hamza's eating milk cake.
Mashallah. There we go. The contrast, right? We've got the youth on opposite spectrums. We've got the healthy youth, and we've got the very unhealthy youth. So
we are anti-fried food this Ramadan. No carbs, no fried.
I've just been chewing on Skittles this whole time. So
I finished my green tea. There you go.
Inshallah.
And now Hamza's gonna munch a milk cake.
Right, to answer the question that Hamza was going to ask me about what I would do if I had one last day left to live and what good deeds I'd do in that time. So what I would do is, while fasting, I would also pray as much as I could, read as much Quran as I could, and donate literally everything that I have in charity. Because you know you're going to go, right? So literally you just hit all three. And if I could, I would do all of this while in Umrah in Mecca. So
You know, Makkah does have the best umrahs.
Can I I don't know if I would do that. I'd like to die in Medina. That's where the Prophet passed away. And would be raised with the Prophet if we're buried in Baqi, which is the closest to where the Prophet is buried. The whole thing was giving all your wealth to charity, right? Could that be irresponsible to what you leave behind for your children? So my understanding of it was the way I would. So say I had, I don't know, 12 kids, yeah. I would put everything in 13, so each kid will get something, and then there'll be an equal share in charity as well. Or if I had 6 kids, whatever Allah blesses us with, right? There'd be an equal share, and then one for charity. Because if they get that will, inshallah, they can have, it might help them give charity or have happy marriages, or invest in their education, their Islamic education, etc. too. That's what I was thinking. But for me, I wouldn't know what I do. Sorry?
I was saying fair point.
Yeah. For me, I don't actually know what I would do. If I had 24 hours, I'd probably stress a bit. I'd probably message everyone on WhatsApp.
You guys are just such hard workers. Why don't you just sit on your sujood and just make intentions all day long? Intend to do this, intend to do that, intend to do this. Like, sincerely. You guys.
I think you got the best one, bro.
You guys
that's the sky's the limit there, man.
Yeah, like one of my favorite quotes of Bill Gates. He says, "I give the hardest jobs to the laziest people because they find the smartest way of getting it done."
With that, I think we'll conclude. Jazakallah khairan, Dr. Salman Khidr. Where can people find you on Instagram?
So I've got a blog on Instagram called just.another.brother. So I mainly write on there, and there's some like cheesy pictures and stuff on there if you like that kind of stuff. But I write about marriage, fatherhood, studying, seeking knowledge, that kind of stuff. So if anyone's interested in that, then inshallah, give me a follow.
That's just another brother with 4 stops after every word.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Khidr, post it in the private chat if you can. I'll put it on the stream.
Dr. Salman, I think you're really famous, mashallah. You're really well known.
Yeah, I've got like 900 Instagram friends, man.
No. You've been on the news.
If I could drop this mic or just...
You're obviously the chief editor at Islam 21C. We spoke earlier about how we can work especially together with research. What's Islam 21C's? Before we leave, I want everyone to, how can they get involved with Islam 21C? And what is the vision of Islam 21C? But very quickly.
What is the what of Islam 21C?
The vision of Islam.
The vision is to see every Muslim confident and impacting the world. We do this via transformational digital content. So head over to Islam 21C and be transformed, inshallah. We're working on our next major campaign for the Uyghur brothers and sisters. It's going to be a very big one, inshallah, nationwide campaign. All of you are going to be involved, inshallah, and we can move toward effective action and impact.
And if for the young people that are watching this, I'm sure you can write articles for Islam 21C. And the best way, obviously, would
you just Google Islam 21C. Google write for Islam 21C, then the form should come up, and that will come to me.
My final question: have you guys bought the domain for Islam 22C?
I don't think so.
I want to buy that. And with
The race is on now.
Yeah.
subhanallah. Ayub, any final words to bless us with? Ayub is, by the way, Ayub is the boss man. He's the main man at Family Network. May Allah bless him. I mean, yes,
And
I just make the coffee, literally. Alhamdulillah. Actually, speaking of coffee, I've now been off coffee for. I stopped like a few days before Ramadan. Not touched it. I didn't, and Allah's made it easy.
Alhamdulillah.
We could do another show about coffee.
Now you got nothing else to do.
I've got a
What do you
coffee
do
machine.
now?
It doesn't work.
No.
Doesn't work for me to stop.
No, I would end by saying Jazakallah khair for everyone tuning in for these After Dark specials, mashallah. And yeah, donate, make dua, go read some Quran, take a little slice of everything tonight, because you never know, every single night of these nights could be a little qadr. And Dora says exactly that. She goes, you will spend more time in your grave than in this world. So invest wisely.
Oh, okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar.
Perfect way to end. Jazakallah khair.
Well, it depends when
Be quiet, man. Just leave it at that. Leave it at that. That's
Way to ruin the moment.
the bombshell.
with that, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونستغفر الله وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alaikum